Hi, thank you for joining me. And for anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Roger, and I've been asked to do the videos for this week. I hope you've had a chance to read the passage we're looking at, which is Acts chapter 1, verses 15 to 26, where Jesus' followers choose a new apostle to replace Judas Iscariot. And the substitute they choose is a man called Matthias. Now, some of you may not even have heard of Matthias. And those who have may know he's usually worth an extra point in any Bible trivia quiz, because he is famously obscure, if that's not too much of a contradiction. This is the only place where Matthias is mentioned, even though he's appointed to a really illustrious position, the only time they appointed a new member of the 12. And the reason I've chosen this passage is because of when it happened. It happened now. Now being the week before Pentecost. Next week, we'll be celebrating how God sent the Holy Spirit to all the believers. A few days ago, on Thursday, it was Ascension Day, which marked the end of the resurrection appearances when Jesus left them and returned to his Father in heaven. So this happens in the gap between Ascension and Pentecost. And it really is a gap. Because up until the Ascension, they still had Jesus with them, at least some of the time. They might not know when he would appear after Easter, but at least he hadn't left them. Now he had. He's promised to send the Holy Spirit. And once the Spirit comes, they'll have a new freedom, new strength to go out into the wider world. But at the moment, they're still waiting for that to happen. And they don't know how long they've got to wait. So that leaves them in limbo, and more isolated than they've been before. Because at the moment they're cut off from either Jesus himself or the Spirit. They don't know how long they'll be stuck on their own, waiting till their isolation ends. This gap between Ascension and Pentecost might be quite a lonely, vulnerable time to be a follower of Jesus. Right now, all of us have been cut off from some of the support we usually have. We've been cut off from family, from friends we can't meet up with, from some of the activities we would usually do, whether that's work or other activities that are important to us. We know the lockdown will end eventually, but we don't know when. We're just waiting and trying to adapt to where we are. There's a lot of talk at the moment about the new normal, and no one's quite sure what the new normal is or what it will be. Will we ever go back to the way things were before, or will this lockdown lead to lots of permanent changes in the way we live? We could be socially distancing for a long time yet. And will a lot of us continue to work from home and not go back to a workplace? People are hardly using cash at the moment either. Will that be a permanent change? And will we all be using more of the technology we're just getting used to at the moment? I didn't have a webcam before this, so excuse me if I'm still getting used to using it. And will we view people differently from now on? too. Like, before all this happened, I never heard anyone call delivery drivers key workers. Now, rightly, we do. So keep thinking about how we get to grips with the new normal, and think about how we make decisions even while we're still quite isolated and still in limbo. Because in the next video, I'm going to be looking at how the early church decided to appoint Matthias. We'll look at how they made that decision and what things were important to them. And we'll look at what that might have to say to us in our situation now.